Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. An incredible game there from the Australian Kangaroos against the Kiwis in both sides. I think both sides played absolutely incredible in that game. 22-10. I thought I'd just jump off for a little late live, my little live reaction of the game, so you get to see my thoughts running through my head currently right now, my thoughts overall, and then I want to see what you guys think live in the chat so we can go back and forth. I'll be live until about 6 o'clock, so we've got a little bit to get through today, guys, so make sure you jump in the chat and let me know how you go. Shout out to SHAUN. Thank you so much for coming through. Guys, jump in the chat as quickly as you can and, chat away with me. Ask me some questions and stuff. What were your thoughts over the game? And we'll just go through it together before we go. So I just wanted to get this out for you guys and, give you my live thoughts and reactions overall in this game. Really good hit out. I think this was probably a little bit better of a hit out for the Kiwis, especially, getting ready for the finals the first time that these guys are going out there. Their combinations did take a little bit of time. I thought SHAUN Johnson was incredible to get this game for the Kiwis. But, we'll talk about my little thoughts and changes for the future in that. SHAUN, yes. Yeah, I do. I think I thought the Kiwis did fairly well as well, my man. I really did. I'm just going to set a couple of things up and we'll get into it. All right. So yeah, guys, basically, 22-10, the Australian Kangaroos getting over the Kiwis. We'll run through a couple of stats while we're doing it. So these are my live reactions to the stats. I didn't get to see too many stats here. Overall, I'll try and set this up so this is even for you guys here, so it's not too crazy. All right, so as you said, obviously the Kiwis getting a lot of possession with the football here against the Australian Kangaroos. 53% to 47%. The time in possession, 30 minutes to 26 minutes of the Australian Kangaroos. It kind of was the tale of the tape that the Kiwis had a lot of ball. They played a lot more clinical type of football. Obviously, really only allowing the Australian Kangaroos out of their end very limited amount of time. So there's a stat there. I think the Kiwis are in the Australian end for 70-something times in the game. I think this is mid to late that second half. And the Kangaroos only were about like 15 times within that game, 15 tackles or something like that. It was a really crazy little stat there, and it kind of tells you the tale of the tape for the football, the way the Kiwis are going to play their football. Again, I'll sure touch on a little bit more, but I think this run would be so much better for the Kiwis for the future, especially if they can get to the finals versus the Kangaroos. But, I think the Kangaroos didn't really come together with their spine. There's still a lot of questions with the spine, how that was working. I know Mitchell Moses scored a really nice try later on in the game playing support and that, but I do have a little bit of questions between that spine and how that's really working at the moment. They definitely were a lot better in this game. 83% completion rate towards the Kiwis is 86% overall, so winning the completion rate battle, the Kiwis, but the Australians did look a little bit clunky, and we'll go down to the error stats, and I think this should tell a little bit of a story. 11 errors to 8 here. So it's really showed that, and I think the 4 other errors of the Kiwis came really late on in the game. At one point, I think with 10 to go, I think the Kiwis only had 4 errors in this game. So I think Will Warbrick knock on that. Tommy Turbo ended up knocking on, which we end up getting the ball back there. I think that counted as an error. Jordan Ricky a little bit later on and, dropping these lollies. So another error for the Kiwis. So majority of that game, the Kiwis only had probably about 3 to 4 errors. A really good knock for their first hit out against the Kangaroos. But the Kangaroos with 11 errors in this game, definitely still an error we'll need to fix up on for the future, for the final. Obviously, we do go on to the final winning this game here, but it's just good to see that. I think we worked a lot better in this game, like spine-wise. I think defensively, we are still very sound. But when we're coming down to our attacking style of football and that, especially with, I know we had limited possession in that, but I did want to see a little bit more. It was good to see Tommy Turbo actually get a lot of good moments here. Getting outside of Matty Tomoko, causing a lot of havoc there. But later on in that game, looked like he was really fatigued. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Didn't look 100% at the end of that game. But yeah, a lot of questions still. I think Dylan Edwards was really good in this hit out here. Definitely stepped up after the last game against the Tongan side, the Tongan 13. Definitely had a lot better of a game. And I really do feel like that Keanu Kinney probably played got the best out of Dylan Edwards. Seeing Keanu Kinney, play the type of football he was, I think Dylan Edwards was trying to one-up him in those areas, and I think both those guys worked tirelessly, and we'll talk a lot more about the Kiwis there. Jackie here, good to see you in the chat, my brother. Good first hit out, but a couple of soft tries cost Kiwis. But all players on debut look good. Yeah, and I think, you know, Jacko, you're a big proponent in our chat a little while ago. Obviously with our review, with me and Brody's review in the Down Unders, and also the review on Wires Up TV, that you guys were going to be a little bit clunky. I thought defensively you're actually fairly solid for majority of the game. Just a couple of moments, just one-off moments where players switched off that, you know, the Kangaroos struck on. I feel like just the class of the Kangaroos got them home in this one, and maybe that that extra game that we played probably helped us later on in this game. But for the majority of it, I think all Kiwi fans should be pretty proud of that performance there. I know not, you know, coming too close. Well, 1-12 is still a fairly close game overall. I thought it was a hanging by a thread for a second there. I thought that maybe it was going to be, you know, a golden point game when it was 16-10. And with the Kiwis looking like they were turning up their defense. But I think you guys would be a lot better for it. A couple of changes I would put out there for the Kiwis, guys, before we jump over to the chat and bounce back and forth on that. I know a lot of people were really excited to see CNK in that 6 jersey overall. You know, like, I know that it's just, for me, I felt like when it came to, I don't know whether it will just get better. Obviously with time under his belt now and all that, but I did want to see more out of CNK in that 6 jersey. He's definitely not a 6 in my opinion. Even though a lot of people want to put him in multiple different positions to really fit other players in. But for me, he just looked lacking in that 6 jersey at the moment. I do feel like the Kiwis should probably look at Kodi Nikorima there. He probably creates a little bit more, a little bit high risk, high reward. And there was a couple of moments where defensively he did get caught out. I think later on in that game, I know that Mitchell Moses try ended up coming down that side as well from a little bit of late effort. And Matty Samoko got caught on an island a couple of times at the end of that game there too. So I would probably look at maybe having, I thought Peter Hiku had an all right game. I would probably push CNK to a center now, and then probably look at Kodi Nikorima in that 6 jersey, only because I think Keanu Kinney had a really great game. You can't push Keanu Kinney out of that fullback jersey now at the moment. I thought that he worked tirelessly in the middle. A couple of late errors in that one. There was a late moment that he probably should have. He was trying to look for SJ to get a kick in at the end of the game. But yeah, I thought he worked tirelessly. And just looking at some of the other stats here, running for 220 meters in this game. Yeah, he was just unreal. So that's my little thoughts on it. I do think that CNK probably would be the member for me to be moved around. I would push him to a center because I think it's too good to have him like completely out of the side and all that. But I would just prefer to have Kodi Nikorima in that 6 jersey, and it probably help SJ a little bit more to open up a little bit more of the because I feel like SJ was carrying a lot of the weight with the Kiwis attack in this game, and a couple of try assists for off kicks, or what, the big try assist off the kick, obviously with Will Warwick to put in a dance on Zach Lomax with Shaun Johnson. I thought Shaun Johnson's kicking game was incredible in this game. But yeah. Thank you so much, Tahi, for coming through, my bro. Tristan, this game reminded me a lot of a WARS game. Yeah, it's very technical football, especially when you look and see a lot of our key members of this team, being Shaun Johnson, Chance, James Fisher-Harris. It probably, yeah, that's exactly how the Panthers sort of play their football, how the Warriors sort of play their football. And with Stacey Jones being an assistant coach of the Warriors, you know, being around the traps and stuff like that, you know, he probably would be playing more of that, you know, style of football as well with this Kiwis. Obviously, you know, being an ex, you know, being around the Warriors camp. So that's probably why it did look a lot like how the Warriors played very much in the season. And it probably also predicates to that point that a lot of the times with the Warriors this season, I did feel like we were missing combinations really coming together, and I feel like it kind of showed in this Kiwis performance as well. That game plan that you run out with, it's incredible. It works so well if everyone's in together, but those little moments that sometimes you have just that little bit of a cohesion just not there yet, it can, like, you know, hurt you in a couple of little areas. But overall, I thought it was a really solid performance. Yeah, deserved win. Yep. Jackie here, Crossland was surprisingly good. Yeah, Crossland usually goes not too bad in that number 9 jersey. I did like that. There was an earlier moment in that game where I think Shawnee was calling for the ball and he totally missed the mark with a pass there, and I was kind of like, like, you know, even though when I was on Wires Up TV and I said, you know, Crossland when he goes in that number 9 is fairly good. But for the majority of that game, I thought he was really classy in that number 9 jersey. And obviously with you guys being without JMK and Cheese, he's definitely not a bad option at all to have in that 9 jersey. And if not, a fairly good option to have in that 9 jersey. So I thought it was very, very good in the middle. You know, a lot of your defensive lapses actually came down to your edges. And other than that Lindsay Collins try that end up being Phoenix Crossland and Keanu Kinney getting caught out in the middle there. Keanu Kinney just a little bit too small to be defending in the line in that moment there against someone like Lindsay Collins. Tristan, Madge not being our coach anymore hurts too. Mal has been a coach of the Kangaroos since 2016, I'm sure. Yeah, obviously the system that Mal is the same thing again and again with the Kangaroos. He knows what he wants out of that Kangaroo side. So Stacey's probably going to take a little bit of time to really get the best out of, well, what he thinks is the best out of the Kiwis and stuff. But in general, I think this is a really good hit out. And I think it goes back to what a lot of people were thinking on Wise Up TV, that Levon was saying the Kiwis probably would have took this game. You maybe take a loss here, but be a lot better from this game. I do believe you have a great performance next week against the Tongan 13. If you play very similar type of football, probably just need an uptick in that attacking area. As I said, like I would have preferred Nikarima in that 6 jersey. But then coming to the finals, you've hit out with Australia before. That week off with Australia, probably, you know, it's going to come together. It's going to be an incredible final, I do believe. So get excited for that final game. I think that you guys will take a lot of notes from this one. But yeah, really, really excited. Yeah, and I agree with you, Jacko. I agree. CNK ain't a great center though, so a bit of concern to put him there. I agree, Jacko. I just think that if I was to, I got to find a way to put CNK in this side here. It's not the Warriors. Like for me with the Warriors, CNK is our fullback because I do still believe he's the best fullback at the club. But with the Kiwis, and I probably would say he's probably still a better fullback as in like, you know, experience and stuff than a Keanu Kinney. But like Keanu Kinney getting that spot there, and probably like if I was shuffling things around, I think Peter Hiku probably for me is probably a little bit past maybe. I don't know if that was just too much for me. I don't think he played bad in this game, but I think if it was to fix anything up, I'd push CNK into a center and just run with that, and then have Keanu Kinney at fullback. Because I think after the performance today, I probably wouldn't be even looking at Keanu Kinney as as moving out of that fullback jersey because I thought he was incredible. I really did. Yes, Tristan. Yeah, the Nick Cotter hit on Mitch Barnett. That was a really good coming together. I think early on, I think Mitch Barnett got into Nick Cotter's face, and it was a little bit of a battle there. It was good to see Mitch. I think Mitch Barnett had another really good game in that Kangaroos jersey. He's really stepped up to that representative level, and it's really good to see as a Warriors fan. So really excited to see next year, especially when Fish comes over, all that sort of stuff. So I think that we are really in good stead, and you know Barnett's just hitting a whole another level there. So really, really excited. Tell you, bro, CNK, he will be out next game due to the trip. Oh, yes. So we probably wouldn't even see CNK. Yeah, you're right. Jacko, trippers are fine. Yeah, it depends. Yeah, surely CNK will get to play. What do you think of that one, guys? Let me know in the chat. Do you think that you probably have to push CNK to a center? There's a lot of for me, a lot of CNK slander around at the moment. You know, not wanting CNK in the side. He's not good enough for this and that. You know, if the Kiwis had a full strength side, I would have put CNK in that fullback jersey. Like, you know, even though Keanu Kinney had a great game at what he had there, but this is after the fact now. But, you know, if they had a full side, I would have had CNK in that fullback jersey. I think he's still a great fullback to have. And then because of all the players that are out of that Kiwi side, you're moving, mixing and matching. Obviously, Dylan Brown not being able to play in that, Jerome Hughes not being there. So your halves combination, you have to push someone in there. I think that's the reason why it went that way. But now you got to find a spot for CNK in my opinion. And I feel like it's a little bit of a disrespectful move to have CNK get completely pushed out of the side. In my opinion, I would rather Nikarima in that 6 jersey, but then I would have to find a jersey for CNK just because of his performances. And I know he hasn't been incredible in that center jersey for the Kiwis, but, you know, if he was to play anything like he did in that last game, in that Sharks game for the Warriors, I think that he can do a job there, probably a little bit better than Peter Hiku. Like Peter Hiku had a couple of moments in that game, shot out of line, didn't make it hit his target. I still don't think Peter Hiku didn't have a bad game, but I'm just saying, like, as in the fact of what's the best Kiwi side I can come up with to go up against my Kangaroos next time. So, Tristan, Manfish, Barnett, Nick Cotter in our pack is going to be some fear in oppositions next year, along with Clark too. Yeah, I'm really excited for the future with the Warriors, my man. Jacka here, CNK will be better for this game at 6. He had a couple of poor reads, but his tackling on big forwards was good. Yeah, I do agree. And that's the opposite end of Cody Nikodima, as defensively he does become a little bit of a liability. He does become a spot. I do believe that, like in this game, I thought that Shaun Johnson was going to be a lot more of a spot than what, obviously end up happening in this game. I felt like a lot of the Australian Kangaroos attack that happened fairly well came off that CNK side. And that's even come to the deficit. I didn't think Mitchell Moses had a great game. I know he scored a try, but for the majority of the game, I thought that Mitchell Moses defensively was all right, but I thought that he could have pulled a couple of better strings than that during this game. Obviously, had the kick out and the full in that. But yeah, in general, a lot of our attack did come down that channel with Tomoko and CNK, and it kind of like it lacked a tad as well. So overall, it was a really good hit out defensively in that. I'm not saying anything like that, but if you're going to have CNK in that 6 jersey as well, I probably would point out he only got 36 run meters in this game from 5 runs. Probably would have seen a lot more out of that. I would have loved to see a lot more. I just thought that his energy just was lacking in that jersey. And from memory, obviously with that Panthers game, we had Tamade Martin and CNK in that 6 jersey. So I think that might have a little bit more balance, where obviously Shawnee takes a lot of the ball. He's a lot more predicated to control everything. Where I feel like in that Panthers game, I think like CNK, whether it's just being paired up next to Tamade Martin and feel like he can have a little bit more balance, probably helped his game a little bit more as well. So maybe I'm looking into it too hardly. Again, this is the first game hit out for the Kiwis as well, so they could be a lot better, as Jacko was saying. But yeah, I just think that I thought every part of the Kiwis performance was really, really good in this game. I just think that like the attacking portion of it to really, strike those moments where the iron's hot and score points probably lacked a tad in this game. Yeah, maybe that's more predicated on the Kangaroos defense as well. Obviously seeing last week, the Tongan versus the Australian Kangaroos game where our defense was unreal. Again, it showed up in this game. I thought there was a lot of good defensive moments from the Australian Kangaroos as well. And Jacko here, Moses hasn't played enough footy. He looks ring rusty. Yeah, a little bit. All right. Let's run through a little bit more stats, guys, and then, I'll jump over. As I said, I might run to probably about 5:45 in that, and I got to cook dinner and all that set up. I was going to do a watch along of this game, but we had a couple of things on, so I had a little bit of running around to do. But still, good to turn up and chat to you guys. All right, so as we were touching on before, all the possession stats go on the Kiwis' way. The run meter stats and that go into the Kiwis' way as well. Fairly close overall there too. Obviously lesser runs with the Kangaroos being at 1,600, but more runs with the Kiwis with 1,700. Average set distance just sways the way of the Kiwis here with 44.95, where with the Kangaroos 44.54. So it probably shows a lot more tiny bit more of a dominance with the Kiwis overall. As I did say, it felt like that the Kangaroos were locked down their end for the majority of that game, and defensively it was a really good effort there from the Kiwis. But when we had those little bit of moments, obviously the line break stat here, 5 line breaks to 3. This is why a lot of people probably are bringing up in chat. It just reminds you of a Warriors game this year where the cohesion probably wasn't there yet, but you can see a lot of great moments there that are shining through that you're holding out positivity for, which end up not working for us this year. But that's why there's a lot of similarities, I do believe, with this performance with the Warriors this season. Play to ball speed, these sort of things I don't really look at too much. I'm not too sure if NRL.com have really good stats here for the play to ball speed, because a lot of times I think that teams have a lot quicker play to ball speed and you don't see it in the stats here, but we don't really look at that. And then we'll go to the defensive stats. So obviously, the Kiwis probably had the better defense overall in the majority of the field. Obviously, trying to lock down the Kangaroos in this game, 89% there, pretty much a 90% of tackle efficiency with the Kangaroos with 86%. The missed tackle stats fairly similar on that, and the ineffective tackles on the Kangaroos, and just unable to really drive it home with the Kiwis. But again, we go back to used to be better after this game, and that has me a little bit worried coming to the finals, because I do believe that you guys had a really good performance here in your first game, where I do believe with the Kangaroos' first performance defensively was freaking unreal, but there wasn't those really structured. Obviously, we completed at 68% in that game. So you guys completing very high. You're playing very technical football now, but you also have those players that really drive things home, like Fisher Harris's, your forward pack's hard and strong. I thought Jordan Ricky, for his little bit of a stint that he had, I thought was fairly good. After that, obviously that late error in the game probably killed you, but I thought that when he first came off, I thought that some of the defensive moments that he had was really, really solid, trying to lead the line speed as well. So I thought he was really good for a little period there too. Nafahu White had an incredible game as well. I see a lot of, obviously, Warriors fans calling for maybe bringing him over to the Warriors if he wants to come home. So would be great to see. I think he had a really good performance here. So looking at the Kiwis running stats overall, Kangaroos, as I said before, leading the run meters here for the Kiwis, 220. I think he led the run meters overall in the game. Unable to get a couple of line breaks here, a couple of tackle breaks with 5, but a really good knock there from Kangaroos. To end up 220. Jermaine Asako with 110. Matty Tomoko, a lot of work there from Matty Tomoko. I think defensively had a couple of missed moments there. Obviously, going up against Tommy Turbo is a big task. But overall, majority of it, I thought Matt Tomoko was really, really strong, especially from the work out of the back end. I thought he worked real tirelessly in this game. 173 with 77 post-contact meters. A really good stint there. The most post-contact meters out of any Kiwi. Peter Hiku with 94 meters. As I said before, I didn't think Peter Hiku had a bad game in this one. Obviously, a line break assist, a try assist, a couple of tackle breaks. I didn't think he had too much of a bad game. But again, I was saying before, if I was to have my preferred Kiwi lineup with all the injuries out, I'd probably push CNK to that center jersey and have Cody Nikodemo to give me a little bit more spark and attack. But that's just by the by. Will Warbrick, I thought he had a really good hit out, especially in his less preferred side and wing. 174 run meters, 53 on the kick return, 57 with 2 line breaks, and that massive, like that turning around of Zach Lomax, a really good moment there from Will Warbrick. So really excited to see more out of him in the future. Tahi with wish we have Will Warbrick with the Warriors. Honestly, like I love the players that we have with the Warriors at the moment, but if we had him, it'd definitely be a great little player to have. Just a really good mix of athleticism, strength, but still learning the game as well. But he's really hitting a whole new level. I think a couple of more years under his belt, I think he's going to be really locked down to a Kiwis jersey, and he's going to be one of your big, big players in the future, especially on that wing. But you're coming to a team with no Ronaldo Mulatalo as well. There's a lot of great Kiwi outside backs coming through. So, Will Warbrick, definitely a great performance there. I thought he was very, very good. I did touch on before, CNK with 36 run meters here. Probably would have loved to see a lot more out of CNK in this game, but, that's by the by. Hopefully he's a lot better after the run here if they do run with that again. Shaun Johnson, we did touch on that a little bit earlier on. I thought Shaun Johnson was very, very, very good in this game. I thought his kicking game was unreal for majority of this game, really posting up Dylan Edwards and Xavier Coates and Zach Lomax on the within that 10 and that. So the Kiwis had a lot of that drive and defense, really holding the Kangaroos back within our half. So really, really strong kicking game from Shawnee, getting that really nice try assist. I know Will Warbrick probably had a lot more to do with that than what probably Shawnee but that kick across field ended up working there. And there was a moment earlier on in the game where Warbrick almost had another try where there was a nice kick over the top, but Zach Lomax just getting an arm to it, but it was a perfect little kick there from SJ. So good performance there. Did wind back the clock later on in that game too. Had a little bit of a broken line. See the Goosey come out again. Definitely, as a Warriors fan, great to see. And I think that he'd be better for the run here too. I think that if that's the baseline with Shaun Johnson in this Pacific Championship, he's going to hit a whole new level in the finals. And being his last ever game of rugby league, I'm expecting big things out of SJ in that final series. So that's going to be great. With the forward pack here, James Fish-Harris, 112. Griffin Neem, 128. Really good little combination there between those two. Obviously, Griffin Neem coming off the bench in this game. Nafahu White started the game incredible, I thought. 147 run meters, 65 post contact. A really good knock from him to start the game there. But when Griffin Neem came back on the field, I thought it was really good as well. He was very direct. Definitely one of my favorite up-and-coming front rowers in the competition right now. The Kiwis definitely got a good one, and the Cowboys have got a good one. I would have loved to have him over the Warriors, but really, really good player there. Isaiah Papali'i, I thought defensively he was really strong in this game, putting up a couple of big hits there. 75 run meters. Probably would love to see a little bit more maybe. I think Shawnee probably had him on a nice line. He obviously was a big contributor in that first try for the Kiwis with this Asako in the corner. Shawnee laying him on an overs line, and then him probably that ball back, and Kangaroos with a nice little ball playing out the back there. So was very instrumental in that first try. So a very good knock there for Isaiah Papali'i. Scotty Sorensen, I thought he was really good as well. He's still, for me, I think Scotty, he's getting through a ton of work and still can't knock his effort and all that. for me, he's still looking like he's getting his fitness back under him. And I don't know if that hamstring's still hampering him. He's definitely strapped up to the 9 as well too. So, but a really good knock there with 85 run meters off 10. So really, really good knock there. And Joseph Tarpane had an early error in that game, which he didn't need to. Also, I feel like it was a somewhat of a key moment too in that first half, where I think that you guys were really building a nice set there, and an offload that kind of went to the wayside that Cam Murray ended up picking up and that. But over in that, I thought, you know, you can't really knock Joseph Tarpane in that Kiwis jersey. He's usually very, very solid. And then your bench contributors, obviously, Kota Nikodima not getting too much there. Murata Niokore with that 60 off the bench. You know, he looks strong through the middle, and hopefully with the Warriors, maybe we should see a little bit more of it this year with players like Lekala Seamers in the world, you know, stepping up, and Jackson Ford coming back off injury. I think our edge back roles could be set, and Murata Niokore coming back through the middle. I think that's going to be a really good sight to see with the Warriors if we go that way. And as I said before, Jordan Riki, not too much in the attacking end, but I thought defensively he was fairly strong in this game. Obviously, the late error probably didn't help him at all. Just going to have a drink of my coffee before we jump over to the Kangaroos, but jump into the chat. Your thoughts? Oh, I'm going to spill my coffee everywhere too, guys. Woo! As I said, this is like a last minute thing. I didn't know if I'd have time to jump on live with you guys, but I just really want to get your live thoughts of it, because I know I got a lot of, being a Warriors fan, got a lot of massive Kiwi fans, obviously in the chat, being, you guys, a lot of Kiwis here. So it's really good. I wanted to get your live reactions and see if I had a really good understanding of where I thought the game was, and see if we coincided with each other here. Right, to the guys in the chat here. Jacko here, Warbrick was outstanding in the debut. Yeah, exactly. It didn't even think he was on debut in this game, Jacko. I thought he was really, really solid. I thought he was really, really good, actually. Probably more than solid, right? He was one of your better players, I thought. Jacko here, SJ, very good. Just so nice to see him smiling. Totally agree. I thought he looked like he was enjoying himself out there. So really good to see. Tahi, bro, Turbo active again. He's a beast. I still think fitness-wise, Turbo is not 100% there. If you notice in that Warbrick try later on where he turned Zach Lomax, you know, me and Brody were messaging on Messenger about the game, and he pointed out that Turbo was lacking in that, you know, that moment there. He kind of was, you know, hampered. It looked like he was under a lot of fatigue at the end of that game there. So, but still, like, had a lot of massive moments there. And in that center jersey, he's a sight to behold. And even when he does those out the back sweeps too, you just got to, you know, really consider him. So yeah, very, very good game there from Tommy Turbo. And thank you, Tahi. Thank you. All right, we'll run through the Australian stats too, guys, before we get our last sort of thoughts, get your last sort of questions out there before I hit the road. But Dylan Edwards, a really nice little knock there with 182 run meters, 55 on the kick return, but 36 with the post contact, a nice try assist and a line break assist. Obviously that big nail in the coffin one there, the big try assist to Mitchell Moses, where it was all Dylan Edwards, you know, getting on the outside between CNK and Matty Tomoko. They were really trying to attack down that edge, finding his moment there, cut back in the inside to Mitchell Moses, score that try to put the nail in the coffin, really. But a really good knock there from Dylan Edwards. He was working tirelessly, as he usually does. 4 tackle breaks as well. Definitely a lot better signs there from Dylan Edwards. Not too many errors, if any, really. I don't think I saw an error out of him in this game. No errors in him. So really, really good knock there from Dylan Edwards. And, you know, kind of, I was one of those people that were kind of looking at it as like, if he wasn't going to perform that well in this jersey in this game, maybe we could have looked at Tommy Turbo in that fullback jersey and stuff, just with the group that we have with the finals. But definitely now I'm just like, he showed his performance there. I still think our spine's very incohesive at the moment. I think that we need a little bit of time to find a little bit of cohesion, and really, I think that Tommy did in finding his way with Angus Crichton. I think those guys need to work a little bit more on a couple of things. I thought Mitchell Moses, again, I know he scored a try in this game, but I thought that for majority of this game, it was, I thought SJ was winning that halves battle, in my opinion. Still think that SJ probably won that halves battle as in the fact of an overall game. Other than that one moment, obviously, with Mitchell Moses, his class to really to perform on the inside there for Dylan Edwards. So, you know, got to give it to Mitchell Moses there. But I thought for the majority of it, I did think that it was SJ was putting the better strings as a halfback. But Dylan Edwards, great knockout back. Xavier Coates and Zach Lomax, both of those wingers, incredible for the Kangaroos. Both definitely going to be great wingers for us for the future, especially with when everyone's full strength for the Kangaroos. I do believe this is probably still going to be our backline overall. 144 run meters there for Xavier Coates, 200 run meters for Zach Lomax, 65 post contact for Zach Lomax, and I think that tops our post contact meters list there too. He is just so strong in contact. His balance is absolutely incredible. He's one of those players very similar to a Dane Gagai and even Hamiso, that they just got really great balance. Like the way they obviously move their body, they maneuver their body, they find a lot of strength in the contact, they get over the top of players. He's got really great upper body strength, a really nice fend, like you guys see it all the time with Zach Lomax. Cannot believe he wants to go back to playing center. I think he's been amazing in that wing jersey. So but shout out to Zach Lomax, incredible, one of our better players out there as well. Tommy Trbojevic, obviously, as we touched on before, 167 run meters, with Hamiso probably getting Hamiso didn't have a lot of his moments in this game. There was an early moment where I think Xavier Coates could have probably put an offload and put Hamiso away. It was touched on a lot with the commentary, a little bit more than I thought. And just touching on the commentary in this game, I thought the commentary was fucking really poor in moments, but we won't touch on too much of that. Sometimes I'm never been a massive fan of Blocker Roach, and I think a lot of Kiwi fans, I can understand what you guys are probably feeling on the opposite end. You know, there was a lot of challengeable moments. Obviously, Shaun Johnson challenging the somewhat the knock-on moment, which is not a knock-on, and the blocker, bro. Like, I don't know, man. Like, yeah, it's yeah, I don't know. I would get him off the call. But back to Tommy Trbojevic, 167 run meters, 56 post contact. Obviously the line break, the try assist there from him, 3 tackle breaks. Just always a strong knock from him. As I did say, I thought later on in the game he was very fatigued. So hopefully, you know, with the week under him, he'll get a little bit of rest, and hopefully he can rest those hamstrings and that. We don't want to see any injuries out of him. Hopefully getting through next year in the NRL competition with no injuries. I think, you know, he's definitely one of the top players overall. Yeah, moving on to the halves. Tommy Dearden with 57. Again, like, I think Tommy, he just works tirelessly, but in this game wasn't able to imprint himself on this game. Very similar to Mitchell Moses, other than scoring that try, getting a try assist off just turning under Lindsay Collins. I think that was a lot of Lindsay Collins just busting through Keanu Kinney in that. But maybe I should give more Mitchell Moses props there from, you know, obviously spotting, turning him back under, spotting, you know, Mitchell, spotting Keanu Kinney and Phoenix Crossland defending in a line together, really spotting up on them. And obviously Lindsay Collins bringing it home there through the middle. So really good little moment there from him. But for the majority of it, I thought Mitchell Moses' kicking game was okay. Had like that kick out in the full earlier on in the game. Did look a little bit shaky in moments. I thought he got pressured a ton in this game, but obviously scoring a try as well. So probably like a 5 out of 10 performance, 6 out of 10 performance, maybe 7 for the try as well. Give me your thoughts in the comment section as well, guys. Paddy Carrigan, I thought he was really, really good in this game. 158 run meters, 56 post contact, tough carry, Paddy Carrigan, as Willie Mason calls him, and that he definitely just, those moments that you need a front rower to step up and that, he definitely takes the front foot. There was a moment there, I think the Kiwis were really bridging up defensively on us. I think it was a 4th tackle, and then Paddy was just came out of the back, was like out of the back of the ruck as they give it to me from Harry Grant. Bang, gave it to him, and he just found his front foot and really goes back into the game a little bit there too. So I thought he had a lot of great moments, Paddy Carrigan. Harry Grant, actually, we'll touch on Lindsay Collins before Harry Grant. Lindsay Collins, 112 run meters, 29 post contact, obviously scoring the try there. Really good to see Lindsay Collins get in over for a try. A lot of the best work of Lindsay Collins comes defensively. You don't usually get to see a lot of his big stat areas with the run meters and that. But from the eye test, what he's out there, defensive work, I thought he was unreal. Again, with that Kangaroos defense that we have, a lot of really good side-to-side movement through the middle. They link up with the edge. They don't create too many holes or too many gaps in the middle. I thought he was really, really solid there. Harry Grant is someone I want to touch on, and I think he was the biggest difference in this game for me. There was the moments before, was it before a try? He got the Kangaroos back into the game where I thought the Kiwis were fighting a lot of momentum as well. He had the kick that put Keanu Kinney in that within that 10, the early kick, the 4th tackle kick that turned the Kiwis around, and then the Kangaroos end up winning the field battle at that moment there too. And then the try assist, that's right, he laid on the try assist there for Zach Lomax in the corner. A massive moment for the Kangaroos in that game to end up pushing it out 16-6, I think, in that moment. I thought that he was the difference there. It just really shows that he is the best hooker in the competition. He is absolutely unreal. And again, I've had chats with the people in the chat before, but I'd have him and Appy Coruscant. I'd probably say he is still probably just probably still a little bit away, and then Appy Coruscant, and then the rest of the hookers in the competition. The rest of the hookers in the competition do one or two things very, very well. I think with Harry Grant, he just does a multitude of things very, very well, and you can't knock his effort. He's always trying so hard. Watching him live in Suncorp last week, and the amount of running that he does, he's bouncing everywhere in the middle. He's incredible to watch, and I thought he was one of our big members in this game here too. Angus Crichton had a lot better of a game in this one. 102 meters, 33 post contact with a line break there. And Cam Murray, I think a lot of defensive moments with Cam Murray was probably the best moments out of him too. Getting the intercept again, as I said early on in the game with Joseph Tarpade from the offload, he found himself in really good moments. So shout out to Cam Murray. Probably not his greatest game in that edge back role. Had a couple of moments where I think him and Mitchell Moses had some not running the right line. Had that early one where he ended up knocking the ball on, but I think that was more on Mitchell Moses, throwing the ball straight into him. But again, defensively, I thought it was really solid. Isaiah Yeo having a very uncharacteristic error a little bit later on in the game, but 115 run meters, 28 post contact. Still a very, very good leader in the middle. Matty Burton only getting on for limited minutes. We won't talk too much about him, but I do want to see a bit more Matty Burton. Mitch Barnett, for the minutes that he has, 76 post contact. How many minutes did he end up playing for? 24 minutes. So fairly good knock there from Mitch Barnett. I think that defensively is where he eats, and I cannot wait for the pairing of Fisher Harris and Mitch Barnett next year for the Warriors. I think Mitch is closely becoming my new favorite Warrior at the moment, and it's so good to see him perform on the big stage representatively. He's a leader. He leads the line speed. He's not afraid of contact. He's absolutely incredible in the middle. I know the stats, obviously, here only 7 runs for 76 post contact, but that 76 overall meters. But think of that as over 10 meters per every run. So that's a very good knock for Mitch Barnett. Ruben Cotter. A lot of his better work came from the defensive end. Only 34 run meters in this one, 11 post contact. But defensively, he just chops blokes left, right, and center. A really good little knock there from Ruben Cotter. And not too much out of Hudson Young. Got brought on through the middle in this game. They're still trying to figure out, obviously, their rotations here with the Kangaroos and that. Hopefully, they get it all settled for the finals. I still, again, as I kind of touched on before, would love to see maybe a bit more Matt Burton. If you're not going to have Matt Burton there, I would probably push Benny Hunt into that 14 jersey and have a rotation of Harry Grant and that, because I do think Harry's getting for a lot of work. But then again, Harry is becoming more of an 80-minute type of hooker in this game day and age, and I think he busted out a good 80 in this game as well. So you're probably good to carry Matt Burton there to cover centers and that when you got someone like Tommy Turbo and that can find an injury. Probably good to have Matty Burton there, but I thought that when he found a little bit of fatigue, Tommy Turbo, I think it would have been smart to put Matty Burton in that center jersey. But that's just my thoughts overall. And defensively, a lot of good knocks. Harry Grant with 7 missed tackles, but he leads a lot of the line speed. That's the reason why a lot of those missed tackles come from. Mitchell Moses with 5 missed tackles, pretty decent margin there. 6 missed tackles from Lindsay Collins, but again, him and Harry Grant lead the line speed for the middle, and you do find a lot of those missed tackles due to those sort of moments. But a lot of tackles here through that edge of, you can tell where the Kiwis were really targeting Mitchell Moses and Cam Murray. 51 post contact with there with Cam Murray. And 22 there with Mitchell Moses. Even though I did think that they went Shaun Johnson's side a lot more of the time, but seeing a lot of tackles there coming down that side of Mitchell Moses. So very, very interesting. But yeah, guys, overall, just lay of the land, just my overall thoughts here. I thought that you probably would be more... I would probably say that the Kiwis would be a little bit more... I think that was a great performance for the Kangaroos here. Defensively, the 22 points is a lot better than last week at the 18. I still think we look a little bit clunky in areas, but defensively, we're holding in strong. So our attitude's right. I think that we can bring it home with that. I still think that if we're going to take a whole new level for the finals, because I know you guys are going to be back there again if you do get the win over the Tongan 13, even Tonga, if they get it back over again and get into the finals, I do think we probably need to be a step level higher for the final series. Even though we're getting wins now, I think that just our spine combination just needs to come together and really show the attacking nuance that we do have on that side. We have class, we have Tommy Trebojevic, we have Hammer, we have Angus Crichton, we have all these players, but I just feel like they're not getting a lot of the really good ball from a lot of a lot of shape. I think a lot of it's come down from individual performances there too, like Tommy Trbojevic getting on the outside of Matty Tomoko. Came out of the back of a little bit of shape there, but that was just more of speed to burn with Tommy Turbo, the tackle breakability, causing that try-scoring action. Lindsay Collins bustling through the middle, a lot of that individual, just great work from Lindsay Collins getting in the middle. Yeah, I think a lot of that came down to that. I still think that our spine needs a little bit more work, but, you know, another run there probably will help us into the future for the finals. But for the Kiwis, you should be incredibly proud. Like it's not a ton of, like, there's a lot of positives in this one, but the only little thing you need to fix up on is obviously in those like try scoring moments. And I think that comes a little bit later on when your boys play together a little bit more. And you know, this is your first hit out, a very good solid baseline. You know, if you think of the Australian Kangaroos first hit out, you know, 18-0 against Tongan 13, defensively we were really solid, but attack just like, you know, 68 possession completion rate, where the Kangaroo with the Kiwis here, a good 89% completion rate, 86%, sorry. But for the majority of the game was up around that 89 to 90% completion rate. You know, only errors came later on in the game. A very good baseline performance. And if you improve on that, you definitely got what it takes to really take it to the Kangaroos when it comes finals time. But still a big game in front of you guys too, with the Tongan 13, who are going to be ruining that first performance against the Kangaroos. A really good defensive performance from the Tongan 13 there, but attack needs to come strong. With the Kiwis, they're definitely got a big battle there, but just looking at both those performances, I think the Kiwis can get it done against that Tongan 13. Defensively, you was really strong today, and you were just really technical with your football. You've really found your spots. Just need that little bit of spark, that little bit of extra, you know, something. That's why I think that Cody Nikarima would be an option for you guys to really open some teams up a little bit more out the back of SJ's shape and stuff like that. But that's just my opinion. Every other area, Counter Kinney, incredible. Wilbrick, incredible. The back line, I thought was really solid there for the Kiwis. Sean Johnson, unreal to see him there after a little bit of a layoff. Obviously, the 8 weeks of retirement. He's back here now. He's back and doing a damn thing and coming up to his last sort of games in that Kiwis jersey. It'd be that last game if he gets into that finals against the Kangaroos later on, and that's going to be a sight to behold. So get excited for that. Really solid performance across the board there for the Kiwis, and also a solid performance for the Kangaroos overall in general. So I'll jump to you guys in the chat before I go away. Thank you so much for all you guys jumping in and chatting away there in the chat. I really do appreciate you guys. Tahi, bro, nice to see. It was important for him to swap jerseys with Fish, and it shows to go what Fish 8's going to bring. Who was that about, my brother? I'm really sorry. I was late on that comment. Jacka here. Hate talking about Aussies after they win. Bring back the hate, but it is what it is. Oh, yeah, brother. Oh, yeah. Jacka here. We had Kiwi commentators, but they ain't great either. Again, like, I thought that who'd they have else in that commentary? I think it was Warren Smith and that. But then, like, I think it was just the Block of Roaches, like, color commentary. Like, he's just coming in, and some of the moments where I feel like that you could just tell, obviously, and it's hard not to be biased, I guess. But I just think that if you're in that commentary role, you kind of got to swing both ways a little bit and just take as you see it. And it's just classic Blocker, where he calls something out for just watching it one time and thinking that's the way to go, and then he ends up getting proven wrong. And I think that's just a little bit more of, like, just me. I don't know, but yeah, I didn't think it was unreal there. Jahi, bro, can agree with Mitch and Paddy have been consistent. I think both have been unreal. Backyard footy at the end. And for Grant, yeah, Tahi, yeah, Harry Grant. He's just got that incredible mix of like that backyard footy, as you just touched on, but he's got so much footy smarts as well. Like, you know, working with Cam Smith, he's like rounded out that game to have, like, if you want to have that really tough contest, he's going to put those kicks in, those early kicks in to turn teams around. He's going to do the smart things. Or if you want to have a really open game, you know, the ruck is completely open, blown open. He's going to cause havoc in the ruck there. Like, you know, any players laying on the ground, not getting to marker, he's going to shoot off and cause a lot of havoc. So he can play so many different types of game. I think that's what makes him the best hooker in the game. He's unreal. And I think he definitely was the difference for us today, especially with our spine members. Jacka here, off subject, but rumors are swelling. New Zealand Rugby League are making Cameron George an offer that will be hard to decline. I hope Cameron George does not go, but yeah. It's not World Cup still, time to build. Yeah, Tahi. And when it comes to World Cup, you're going to have your full, well, hopefully you have your full strength side. Obviously with Dylan Brown, you're going to have Jerome Hughes. You're going to have like Ronaldo Mulatalo will have to try and find his way in, but even though it's going to be tough to find his way into that jersey now. But you know, you got just a lot of players to come back in that jersey. Whether KIWI'S was going to go into that center jersey, I'm not too sure. Obviously no Joey Manu in that, but you still got a lot of players, Moses LEOTAs of the world that are still not there. Britton Agorda, like there's a lot of players that are out of that Kiwi jersey you're going to have to feed back into before the World Cup. But, you know, if this is the game plan, this is the structure that they're running with, I think they're going to win more games in the future. Like they're playing very technical football, and that's really good to see out of the Kiwis. I thought that was very, very strong technically today. Jack here, Mouse Mart will be rocking next week. Yes. I cannot wait to see the Tongan fans turn out, as they always do, especially in Auckland. It's going to be an incredible game. The Sea of Red, as everyone knows. It was at Edwards, brother. Yeah, Dylan Edwards, Tahi Bro says, swapping the jersey with Fish. And it just shows, yeah, the camaraderie. I can't even say that word properly. They're coming together of the Panthers boys. It just shows how much they all mean to each other and how much of a leader Fish is to those guys. So, you know, we are going to get a really good leader over to the Warriors next year. And I think defensively is the best area, and it's one area we did fall back on this year. I think that everything else in our game I like, in my opinion. I think defensively we just need to step up a little bit, especially if we're going to have Tomato Martin in that 7 jersey next year for the Warriors. You know, our attack's probably going to be very, I'd say he's going to be like the gunslinger, right? He's going to go out there. He's going to really play what he sees. And I think that will probably help us, give us a little bit more energy in attack. But defensively, when you got Fisher Harris that's going to really lock in the middle, you got Mitch Barnett that's hit representative footy now. All these guys are going to step up their level, hopefully, and that's going to really help us with the Warriors next year. So very, very excited overall. All right, guys, any other chat questions before I go? Quickly chuck them in the chat. I'm probably, another couple of minutes and that. I'll jet off the cuff, bro. Yeah. Jacka here. Metcalf will be our halfback. I'm still... Well, Tomato Martin will be our 6. I still think it's going to work very, very similar. You never know. Like, I think that's going to be our combination, brother. I don't see Metcalf having a different 6 next to him, or, you know, a different half next to him, right? I think it's going to be Tomato Martin and Luke Metcalf. But I do think Luke Metcalf will have a little bit more control over everything. But as I was just touching on with Tomato Martin of what he played this year, he's going to be a little bit more of a gunslinger. And I think that helps our attack, especially him and Metcalf are going to have a lot more of the better attacking moments. And even defensively, I feel like both of them are very good. Well, I think Tomato is a very good defensive, you know, in that 7 jersey or 6 jersey. Either way, 6 or 7, they're going to have a number on the back, but I believe that's going to be our halves combination, right? We'll put it that way. I believe that Tomato Martin will wear the 6, we'll wear the 7 jersey, but... So the lower of next week's game in a relegation match. Exactly. Whoever loses next week's game of Kiwis and Tonga will go into relegation or against probably be PNG, because Fiji had a great win over the Cook Islands, but I think it's dependent on that PNG Fiji game. But whoever will play, I guess it's out of Tonga and Kiwis. Again, it's going to be a tough game, that game, because I thought Tonga had a really great performance as well against the Kangaroos, but the Kiwis as well. I think the Kiwis probably just have a little bit more... I think they have a little bit more strike. Again, like, you know, scoring 10 points and that, obviously coming off of moments, you know, with the kick and obviously Jermaine Osako try there too. I still think that the Kiwis probably have a little bit more than Tonga. But again, that Tonga team, if they come out and they play what they play with the Kangaroos and just have a little bit of an uptick in attack, I think that's going to be an incredible contest. But yeah, it's one of those two teams who go up against those lower relegation there. No, yeah. All good, Tahi, bro. Tempo, see Auckland FC game? Yes. And as a Brisbane Roar fan, you know, yeah, definitely sucked to watch, but good to see that the A-League is growing a little bit. Hopefully, yeah, hopefully there's more numbers and that to the A-League and helps them not leave, like not go crazy, like, you know what I mean? I love watching the A-League. Obviously it's not to the level of EPL and that, but I think, you know, for soccer, it'd be good for the future, or football. It'd be good for the future to have a really good A-League to really produce for the Socceroos and for the New Zealand national team. So, cheers, Jacko. Appreciate you coming through, my man. Tahi bro, halves game, otherwise equal across the board. New Zealand and Tonga. A win over Tonga is not a given. No, it isn't. It really isn't, guys. It really isn't. So definitely have to replicate this performance against the Kangaroos, and probably still an uptick in that attacking end of football with the Kiwis. You know, because Tonga defensively are really solid against the Kangaroos. So it's going to be a very, very good contest, especially with the amount of fan turnout for Tonga as well over in Auckland. It's going to be incredible. So I cannot wait to see Mount Smart just packed full of fans. I cannot wait. All right, guys, I'm going to jump off. Appreciate every single one of you guys jumping in and chatting football with me. Obviously, again, the Kangaroos getting over the top of the Kiwis, 22-10. A great performance, I thought, from both sides here. An incredible game of football overall. A very high class type of football. But the Kangaroos just getting over the top of the Kiwis. But the big question is, can the Kiwis come back? Can they get back into that finals game and do what they did to the, to the Kangaroos, what they did last year? And that's a big thing over at Kangaroos' mind is, obviously, we did this to you guys last year in the first game of Pacific Championship, and definitely even more so. It was a dominant performance, but the Kangaroos came home strong. The Kiwis came home strong, obviously learning from their experience against the Kangaroos. The Kiwis can definitely do that again. So get excited, guys. The Pacific Championships is heating up now. We're nearly finals time. Incredible. I cannot wait for next week. Appreciate you guys. Have a good weekend. Take it easy. Peace out.